So apart from real estate, what else is on your ambit?
Something like investment banking and all.
Investment banking.
That's a far more technical decision than buying, say, a property.
Yes,
So what makes you think that you will be able to do that job well?
because I have already explored the real estate market where I have sold the properties ranging from 50 lakhs till 4.23 CR.
So there's a difference. So do you think you have the skills which will enable you to be successful in investment banking?
Not as of now, but definitely can be in future.
So how is the career in marketing related to buying and selling of companies? How is that connected?
May I come in?
Yeah, sure. Connect.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hi, Sachin.
Hi, sir.
Can you tell us something about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Sachin Chauhan. I stay in Dombivli, which is in Thane district. I have done my graduation from �սկ𝐫𝐻, pursuing Bachelor's of Commerce degree in 2023. I started my professional career into real estate market as a sales intern. Gradually gained some experience into sales and through client relations and studying about the market. I did my gradually I increased my potential and got into I was interested as a AGM in my latest company where I was leading a team of 7 members, through which I came to know the balance how to balance between teammates and achieve the sales target as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the scale of operations of this company where you are AGM?
Sorry, sir.
What is the scale of operations or size of this company where you are AGM?
The total employee strength as of Thane market was 60 employees, and there was other markets as well, which is in Navi Mumbai and Andheri. Yeah. And sir, apart from my professional, I also do running long runs, 5 to 10 kilometers, 3 to 4 times a week, and into strength trainings, mostly in powerlifting. I perform in powerlifting events.
They perform in Punjab.
So why not take up that as a career, powerlifting?
Because I have learned about the market in the fitness, there is not much scope in powerlifting events because it is not an official game in Olympic as well. Weightlifting is an official game in Olympic, but not powerlifting.
Okay.
Hmm.
So you're not interested in
Yeah,
it?
I'm not interested.
Okay. The current work that you have, can you walk us through what do you do on a day-to-day basis?
I started as a sales intern in the company known as SP Realty, where my work was to directly call up the clients and schedule a meeting. And this was basically a CP firm, not a developer lobby. And the work of a CP firm is to get the best opportunity for the client according to his budget range, what all properties are suiting for him. That was my basic job, and as I was interested with leading a team of 7 members, my basic job was to make daily meetings with the team and make them and get them knowledge about the new market trends, new product pitching, and everything was my call.
That was your first job.
Yeah.
Then you moved to Square Yards.
Yeah.
What were you doing here?
Square Yards, it was the same work I was doing in SP Realty, but Square Yards, a differentiation was that I was directly going to the developer sites and sitting on the table to close the deal.
Okay. And what do you do right now?
I left my company in the month of July.
No. So the last work that you did, are you currently working here?
No.
Okay. What was that last role? Were you doing the same thing?
Yes, AGM, yeah.
So your designation was
Yes.
better, but you're doing the same thing.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Why real estate? I mean, after BCom, you could have gone on to do anything else, but why did you decide on real estate?
During my 3rd year, I have done an internship, not internship, a full-time job into Bonito, which is an interior designing firm, where my work was as same as it was in SP Realty, but the difference was the sector. It was not a real estate sector, it was an interior designing sector. And the ticket size was of 7 lakhs to 10 lakhs, the product ticket size. There I looked up upon the real estate sector as well, because mostly our clients had bought the house and all. By working over there for 3 months, I realized that real estate sector is something I can try on. That's why I went to real estate sector.
So if instead of interior design, it would have been something else, your career would have been something else.
Yes, I think so.
So let's say instead of interior design, let's say you had worked in IT company,
Okay.
then you would have taken an IT job.
No, I don't think so. Because the main thing I work for real estate because I wanted to learn sales, and real estate comes up with the high ticket size sales. That was the main reason I looked up for real estate. Because I was already working for 3 months in Bonito Designs. The ticket size was of 7 to 10 lakhs. I wanted to push a little bit more. That's why I came up for real estate.
So sales is something as a field that you really enjoy.
Yes.
Okay. So what are the two biggest challenges that you faced as a salesperson in the real estate sector?
The main thing was uncertainty.
Uncertainty. Okay.
Yeah. That I faced.
What does that mean?
Many times I call up the clients. He told, let's schedule a meeting at this time at this developer. But many times he doesn't shows up over there, because I can't be certain about that he will come at this time. He might get delay or he will postpone. That was one of the major challenges I faced in the real estate, and converting that high ticket size deals, closing that high ticket size deals was another
Yeah,
challenge.
agreed. But that, of course, but the thing is, why do you think it is difficult? One, of course, because it's so much money, right? Of course, the moment I have to buy something for 1 crore or 2 crore, of course, it's going to be that, people will take much longer to decide. But that aside, so what did you feel was the big challenge that you are facing as a salesperson?
Yeah, the main thing, I was in a CP firm. The main
What is
thing was
CP firm?
a
Complete property.
No, channel partner firm.
Okay. What does
Means
that mean?
we are not directly associated with any developer. My work was to get the client. Suppose a client has a budget of 50 lakhs. In Thane, there are various developers that offer a property in 50 lakhs. My work was to get that. My work was like a bridge between developer and a client.
So it's like an agency.
Agency, yeah, you can say.
So it's not a pure real estate, but like an agency.
Agency that works purely on real estate.
Okay.
At not any other domain. The problem that I faced, the client was already tied up with many other channel partners as well. He already knew about the many of the other developers, and that was the main thing the problem I faced.
Why is that a problem?
Yeah, that getting the client to the right property, and getting the client to the right property and getting to know what he actually has. Many times a client says my budget is 50 lakhs, but he ends up buying a property of 1 crore, 1.5 crores. That made me difference between what client really wants and what he really needs. That was the biggest challenge I faced in real estate market. Understanding consumer behavior, to be specific.
What do you think are the two big problems facing the Mumbai or Greater Mumbai real estate industry?
Okay. The development, I think so.
Okay.
And the prices are skyrocketing by time, because the real estate as a segment is tangible and limited. The lands are limited. The builder, the ones are building it is built, the pricing goes higher and higher, and the development is too slow.
But haven't we been hearing that prices in Mumbai, real estate prices are not really going up in the last 10 years? It's been more or less stagnant.
Yeah, in the market like Andheri, Western market, the price are the same, not growing that much more. But the in market like Thane and all, where development is so much, like infrastructure development and all, metros are coming, the prices are skyrocketing.
Okay. So one, the price is a problem. And you said development is also a problem. What do you mean by that?
In terms of customer, because of development, the prices are going to rise in future and are rising. That is also a concern for the customer.
So, no, but apart from price, there is no other big concern.
In the real estate market, I don't think so, because it's definitely a basic need.
Okay.
What do you want to do in your MBA and what after that?
In MBA, I have to learn about the various other fields in marketing.
So you'll do MBA in marketing?
Yeah, MBA in marketing. Go through all the case studies, live lectures and all, which will gain me more confidence and a clear vision about my leadership skills and all, which will develop eventually my leadership skills as well through an MBA degree.
What will you do after MBA?
Uh, a job in mostly in marketing department, marketing or sales, not specifically in any company and all. I have targeted for, but something contributing to
What
marketing
kind of job?
department. Uh,
So what I'm trying to get at is, would you go back to real estate as a sector, considering you have worked so much?
yes, it can be.
Okay.
Open to many other companies, but my preference would be real estate, because in many companies such as Godrej, Lodha, the problem I'm facing, I cannot get over there directly because the manager role are offered to a person who has done an MBA degree. That is one of the main reason.
You mentioned in your free time you do long distance running. Okay. So tell me, when you run, there are different injuries that can happen.
Yes.
So can you tell me a couple of injuries that, let's say, some runners can get?
Mostly in the ankle. Ankle pain is one of the most common injuries. Knee pain and all. Sometimes they face knee injuries. Sometimes I have faced knee injuries. My ankle pains a lot after a long run, 5 to 10 kilometers. The sweating and all.
No, what do you do with it? But
The
let's say you get
stretching.
ankle pain. Now what do you do?
Mostly the main thing before the running is the warm up. That I prefer 10 to 15 minutes, and after my running a cool down stretch of 10 to 15 minutes. That helps me to prevent the injuries, and if I got an injury, that's recovery is the only option, like ice bath and all, which makes the blood circulation improve and all. That prevents the injury.
Okay. What's your resting heart rate?
Heart rate,
What is your resting heart rate?
I have never measured, so
Never.
So do you run without measuring anything like heart rate?
yes, I've never measured my heart
So you
rate.
run on feel.
Yes.
Okay. Is that a wise thing to do?
As a age of 23, I don't think so it's a problem.
Okay. Shavik?
So you say that you're kind of open to other sectors apart from real estate in terms of marketing, right? Real estate is a preference, but you're open to other sectors also.
Yeah. Other roles as well.
Other roles then, but marketing related.
Yeah, marketing.
Right. So apart from real estate, what else is on your ambit? Something that you are willing to consider or interested?
Okay. Something like investment banking and all.
Investment banking, but that's not marketing at all.
No. In that, many firms hire people who are willing to sell a company, who can acquire a company. That skills and all I would wish to develop. That's more of a high ticket sale, greater than real estate.
So buying and selling of companies.
Yeah.
That's a far more technical decision than buying, say, a property.
Yes.
So what makes you think that you will be able to do that job well?
Because I have already explored the real estate market, where I have sold the properties ranging from 50 lakhs till 4.23 CR.
We're talking about companies, like $1 million deals, right?
Yes.
So there's a difference. So do you think you have the skills which will enable you to be successful in investment banking?
As of now, not as of now, but definitely can be in future. After the MBA, after getting much more experience, not directly, I'm saying.
It's not even a marketing decision, right? That's a much broader strategic decision and stuff like that. So how is the career in marketing related to buying and selling of companies? How is that connected?
That's what I want to learn in MBA, how to get it into a structural way.
Can you explain the difference between a merger, joint venture, and acquisition?
A merger, when there is a company like PayPal, it merges with X.com to form a new company. That is merger, according to me.
One is X, the other is, you say?
PayPal.
Okay. So they are now combined the company.
They have merged.
Okay.
And sorry sir, what was the next one?
Joint venture and acquisition.
Acquisition is entirely buying a new company, acquiring a new company, just like Flipkart. Flipkart was acquired by Walmart. Yeah, and joint venture is something, I think so. Joint venture is running two companies parallelly, or running two companies parallelly.
You mentioned reading books as your hobby. So can you tell me the last book that you read?
It was 0 to 1.
0 to 1. Who is the author?
Peter Thiel.
Okay.
So you mostly read non-fiction?
Yes.
Can you tell me more about Peter Thiel?
He was the co-founder of PayPal. The best thing I have learned from this book was you should cut the competitions. the Peter Thiel was against the competitions and all. For example, he introduced PayPal. In the era of PayPal, there were banking services that was going on. He just came up with the new idea that we have to entirely get through the payment system and get entire new scheme for the customers to make the payment easy. Like that, he cut down all the competitions, all the competitors in the market. And that was the best thing I learned from the book. Like going to from 0 to 1 is like innovations and all, and from 1 to n arranging the things. Another examples would be companies like Apple, that it didn't goes with the Android and all. He develops his own hardware and software systems.
Okay. So, are you aware of what is blue ocean strategy?
Sorry, sir.
Blue ocean strategy.
I cannot recollect about that.
Okay. All right.
So this thing that you said that about, bypassing competition or killing competition, or that aspect. So because you worked in real estate so much, what do you think could be a way to bypass? Because you're also working with channels, and you are competing other channels. As I said, what could have been a way to bypass or completely kill the competition?
Yes. One of the prime example would be Hiranandani.
I'm sorry.
Hiranandani Powai. It doesn't started in the segment like Thane or a developed segment or a developed area like Andheri Western and all. It started its real estate journey from a location known as Powai, which was an undeveloped location. The starting square feet area was around 420 square feet, and now the current price is around 45,000 square feet, which is going in Powai. It is one of the best examples where I can say it has cut through all the competition and entirely began something new, different.
By going to a very new
Different
area.
location, yeah.
Why is your academic record, for want of a better word, I'll call it average?
Because I don't think so. I was mostly inclined in only studies. I was inclined in other activities as well, like sports and all.
What kind of sports?
Cricket I used to play, but I was not very much good at that. Powerlifting and running would be the top of that.
So you started powerlifting and running you started in school itself?
No, in college, actually in college.
No, I'm asking about your 10-12 graduation, the entire academic record.
Till 10th, I was definitely an average in studies. But from 11th standard onwards, I started my running career I started my running.
So what interested you about powerlifting?
Yes, after my school, when I joined my college, I was in 11th standard, and there was a track of 400 meter in Somaya College. I started running over there, and at my initial days, I just ran and half of the ground, just 200 meters. That I felt so bad. I developed my by time I developed my stamina and got into marathons and all, but I felt that my strength is bit low. That's why I joined gym and did trainings for 2 months, 6 months, and I developed that I have more interest into events, into things such as squats, bench press, and deadlift, and that all comes in the area of powerlifting. That's why I love powerlifting. I am doing that.
So you realize that instinctively you are good at it.
Yeah.
And how is that? You said earlier that powerlifting is not in the Olympics, but weightlifting is.
Yes.
So to a layman, how do you differentiate the two?
Powerlifting basically comprises of squat, a deadlift, and a bench press. The top scores of that athlete is given over there, and weightlifting is something clean and jerk. You are doing clean and jerk of the weights. Both are different sport.
Oh.
What do you consider as the biggest area of improvement for you?
The biggest area, many a times of a situation, I just take the negative side of that situation.
So you're pessimistic.
Yeah, you can say I just want to improve that thing as of now.
So have you found any mechanism to work on that?
By thinking positively, working on the areas, and main thing, managing that, and accountability would be the better option.
How do you think positively?
Yeah.
The thing I get better at, the more positive I become. I think so.
No, how do you do it? I mean, what is positive thinking? For somebody who says area of improvement is, I look at negative side of things. How do you look at a problem in a positive way? Can you give an example?
Okay. Positive thinking would be, for me, if I get a situation, the possibility of it failing and success 50-50%. Yeah, as of my case, I now feel that I will the failing ratio of me is 80 and 20. 80% I would fail in that, 20% I would succeed. I want to improve that by by taking the thing.
No, you want to improve, that is fine.
Yes.
The question is, how are you implementing that positive thinking in your life right now?
Yeah. Can I use the example through my cat experience? Yeah. As first I was getting low in mocks, and after that I felt me that I'm not going to get good marks in exam. In my exam situation, that I felt really bad. And the things I started improving is to take accountability of that I have to do this all things in this way at this day. That, in short, staying consistent on a daily basis and all, which will help me to gain some confidence and gain a positive light over there. Consistency is the one thing.
So you're into fitness, right? Now there's a lot of talk about protein intake, that Indians are deficient when it comes to protein intake. What is the ideal protein intake that one should have?
If a person is in a working class, he should have 1.5 times of his body weight, and if he's training for something, 2.5 times is the best ideal way, I should say.
So if somebody let's say weighs 70 kg, what is the protein requirement daily?
105 gram.
Okay. And this is across the board, you're saying?
Yeah.
So anybody who weighs 70 kg should be consuming 105?
105 for a healthy lifestyle. If he can't afford that 105 gram, he should definitely stick with 70 grams of protein. That the same.
So it is not age or gender dependent.
By aging, not gender dependent, I must say, but by aging, as you grow older, you should definitely look up into a diet a bit more.
Okay. What is the role of vitamin D in our body?
It strengthens the bones.
Okay. Is it a hormone or is it a vitamin?
I think so. It's a vitamin. I'm not sure about that.
Okay. What's the role of calcium?
Calcium, it improves the density of the bone, makes the bone stronger, and as well as the joints.
So a lot of people take calcium supplements. People especially go to the gym, a lot of them start doing supplements.
Yes.
What's your view on overall supplements, and can you tell us what sort of supplements should be taken and should not be taken?
Yeah, talking about the supplements which are naturally with a natural supplement, just as proteins, which are the basic requirement, protein, calcium, vitamins, all type of vitamin we should definitely take, and creatine as well are the supplement that everybody can take, whether he's going to a gym or not going to a gym. That are the basic necessities that a person should take. And obviously, if he is going to a gym, if he gets 2 or 3 years in the gym, he would think that a natural body can grow up to a certain level. Growing from certain level to that level of bodybuilding, some people go to the steroids and all. That is not safe at all.
What's the difference between creatine and creatinine?
Creatinine, things I don't know, because creatine.
Okay, so tell me, what is the role of creatine?
It supplies water to the muscles.
Okay.
Which enhances our strength and all. It helps in building the strength. The creatine is also available in fishes, some type of fishes, but a person who is vegetarian, he can take the supplement of that.
Why do you think India, despite such a large population, does not do well in sports that require a lot of strength and athleticism? Like we do well in cricket, right? But apart from cricket and maybe some standalone great performances aside, now chess, of course, they're doing very well, but something that is very physically demanding, like let's say football, for example, right? Biggest example. Why is India not performing well, or it doesn't have a history of performing well at a global stage?
Culture would be the main thing. Culturally, we are told that you should eat chapatis, you should eat ghee.
Food.
One of the reason is food. And talking about cricket, and cricket is recognized from an early age, from mid 90s. I must say, when the India won the first World Cup, from that time cricket got a great recognitions, and that how the cricket grew up in India. But it was definitely an unfair market, because just the cricket grew in India, the distribution is not well in other sports as well, because no one in India likes to watch a 5-kilometer run. It's
not forget running, but I'm saying that competitive sports, team sports, like let's say football, rugby, things like that. We do well in hockey relatively, and maybe kabaddi to an extent, but kabaddi not of nations are playing anyway. So why do we not do well in things like football or rugby or things like that?
Okay, the main thing I think so,
or even tennis.
Distribution is the main thing. The Indian consumers mostly want to watch cricket. Is most inclined towards the cricket and that was sport. No one, a very less population of India watches football, and all, due to which the demand of that is already less, and people mostly inclined towards cricket. the competition of cricket is very much more over that. Diet is one of the main factor that athletes should have in other sports as well. That rugby and all needs a high protein diet and all, which is lacking in India.
Done from my side.
Yeah. Do you have any question for the panel?
No, sir. No, sir.
Fine. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So, Sachin, your interview is done. How was it?
I think so. I could have done better.
Yeah, definitely you could have done better. So, see, overall, what I think is it became like a generic interview more than a B school interview, right? Because of the way you responded to a lot of questions. See, what happens is when you get questions, it is your responsibility to give more information, structure to the answer. A lot of times it happened that you gave a direct answer, and as if that is the stand that you have taken, right? Very direct answer. So, for example, he asked about how do you wipe out the competition or something like that. Immediately your response was Hiranandan. And then it happened again somewhere where you said that, okay, he asked about why India does not do well in other sports which are physically demanding. You're like culture. And you started justifying it without listing down the factors. So you have to think of it as if a problem is thrown at you, and you have to give us how we are going to solve that problem. So what is the structure to any question that is asked to you? Even something like how did you get into powerlifting, right? So you started talking about, okay, whatever, there was a running court and all of that, right? Why would you not take that up as a career? So there will be, say, 3 reasons, right? And you have to give a structure and say, okay, fine, this is reason 1, 2, 3. That is why I'm not going to do it. Okay? See, you have something that a lot of people will not have, which is direct sales experience. And you have to play on that turf, right? This is the strong point. Your academics is not strong. Your strength is the 2 years that you have spent in real estate sales. So you have to position yourself in that manner, and you have to talk more about it. You went on, there were some tangential discussions that happened. For example, you said investment banking. And then the discussion is like, what is happening, right? Are you interested in sales? Are you interested in investment banking? Then you say something about companies buying each other. I mean, investment banking is very, very technical, right? It's not a decision like, okay, there is somebody who comes to you and says, okay, I want a property in Thane, and then help me with some options, right? It's not like that. So there's a lot of due diligence. It will take months to close that particular deal, right? So it's very technical, data-oriented field. And unless you have some background or interest in finance, there's no way you should be thinking of investment banking, correct? So avoid tangents. Investment banking was a tangential discussion. If you want to make a story on sales, that, okay, I want to be a successful sales professional, right? This was the initiation into that, the first experience that you got in real estate. And now you have realized that the overall marketing and sales domain has a lot to offer, which you haven't experienced so far. You have just scratched the surface. This is first experience. Now you want to learn it further. And that is where MBA structured approach will come into picture, that it will give you all of it. You will develop understanding of marketing, finance, operations, all of those things to help you understand how businesses run and how marketing works, how products and services are delivered to the customers. So all of that is your interest area, and that is why I want to do an MBA. If you mention investment banking, it is going to open, it's like Pandora's box. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen from there. So I asked you why real estate, and then you said I interned with Bonito, and that is how I got into this. Then I said, what if your job had been IT? Then you would have said, okay, I want to work in IT, analytics or consulting. So you have to position yourself, your story, right? That how you got interested in real estate. There has to be a better answer for this. Okay. Then CP firm, you use CP firm as the word, and he had to ask you what does it mean. So it may happen that a lot of times for you it is a day-to-day jargon, but for somebody who is sitting in the panel who has not experienced real estate, to know, they may not know what CP stands for. So don't assume that they know nothing, but at the same time, don't assume that they know everything. So give them in a very simplistic manner exactly what do you do, right? So I had to sort of get it, we had to get it from you as to what CP is. Then reading books, I think you have read 0 to 1, so that's why a lot of examples also, even when asked about joint venture, mergers and acquisition, you spoke about the PayPal example. Then academics, I said the record is average, right? And then you said, no, I was doing a lot of other things, but there aren't a lot of other things. So somewhere you have to first of all accept that I haven't done well academically. It's okay, I mean, whatever, average. You have to talk about the learnings that you got from that experience and how you have done better in your work experience. So maybe in your academics, you realize that you aren't putting enough effort from your end, or you're not performing to your potential. And taking those learnings in your work experience, now you have achieved and exceeded sales targets within timelines. So what experience taught you, right? You see, it's not about numbers, not about percentage, but maybe you didn't perform to your potential. Maybe you could have got even 9 CGPA, right? But did you do everything that was required to get there? Maybe you didn't do it that time, but now you know that you have to do everything to close a sale. That you have to go all out and do everything that you can, correct? So talk about the learnings that you got there. Powerlifting, weightlifting, all of the discussion was fine. Then you spoke about running, and I asked you, what is your resting heart rate? You could have said anything, 72.
Okay.
So
I don't know the parameter actually exactly.
the heart rate, what is the normal heart rate that is there?
60, 70 something.
Yeah, typically 72, but then it ranges from 60 to 100. So there is tachycardia and bradycardia, less than 60, above 100. But I'm not saying go into that technicality. Then you said running, and I asked you about injuries. So you said there's knee pain, there is ankle pain. This is very superficial. I mean, anybody can.
Injury.
Okay.
What I was getting at it, some specific names, right? So there is a condition called runner's knee, for example. There are shin splints that happen, right? So specifics you will have to give, right? Right now it appears that a lot of it is like superficial understanding. I'm not saying you don't know it, but maybe you're not able to present it, or you haven't gone to the depth of that. So even creatine and creatinine, right? These are two different things. So creatine is what you consume. Creatinine is a byproduct, right? So that when you do a urine test, for example, you will see creatinine, the value. So build slight more depth in whatever you're saying. Even protein, you took a stand 1.5 times body weight, but that's not for everybody, right?
Okay, but it's general, so like.
So you have to specify. That's why he sort of pushed you in that are you saying it is for anybody? Is it age, gender dependent, independent? Let's say a pregnant woman would have different protein requirement compared to a man who has a very sedentary lifestyle.
Yes.
So that is why it's not, there's a guideline, but it's not 1.5 times.
That's why
can be
I
2 times
mentioned
also.
working class.
Yeah, but you have to expand. on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You
Expanded
have to
ideas
give
and all.
more. See, the point is they want to know how much you know. If you give me a very short answer, they will think you know only that much.
Understood.
So give them more. Correct. Then MBA marketing happened. We discussed something on investment banking again was like really tangential, should not be mentioned at all. And I think that merger joint venture, I think was okay, but could have been handled much better. So you have to explain, you didn't know what a JV is, I think. Joint venture, you were not able to explain. You mentioned mergers, you mentioned what
Is
acquisition
the
is.
example of merger correct? PayPal is a merger with which company is the other one?
𝐿.
Huh? X, the Twitter, new Twitter. So they have merged as one company. I'm not sure.
Yes, the X.com and the X.com is of Elon Musk merged with PayPal.
So is it merger or is it acquisition? Just be clear about it.
Okay, I will just recheck.
But because X definitely exists as a solo entity,
Yes, yes.
right? So merger, ideally, that should not happen. See, you're a salesperson, right? So, you're a salesperson, right? What you're right now not doing is selling yourself enough, right? I think that is the big takeaway, because you are not highlighting your own strengths, your own USPs, right? So as I said, what your profile does have is a very hardcore sales experience, and that also in a slightly unpleasant industry, right? It is not a very pleasant industry to work with. I have friends working in real estate, so it has been painful, right? That experience is very rich, because a lot of people would not want to handle that kind of hardship that you might have actually faced, right? What happens is you are not capitalizing on that, right? So right from the intro, when you said you said name, then I said Dombivli, then I said BCom for real estate. Why not start with name and directly get into your work for 2 years in the real estate industry, and then Dombivli's information is irrelevant, no? Unless you are trying to build a connection with that background to something else, that information is not very important for me, right? To an extent, let's not spend too much time on the BCom. You focus on what is your strength, right? Even when later the question was about to explain your work experience, you mentioned I was sales intern here, I was this, I was this. So you do not really say how much work you had to do, right? What was the impact that you created? How you got in a sort of promotion at such a young age that a lot of other people may not have had. That you are not really, you're just giving me the highlight points rather than saying how important or how much work I have done. Because as I said very correctly, your profile is not an academic profile. The student, before we talked to her, acads are very strong. But she was a fresher. You have 2 years of work ex, and you have to really build into them that you're very good at sales, because that will then take you to a marketing wala, tangent in your career.
And just to add, you received recognition from couple of developers you have mentioned,
Yes.
but that didn't come out in the interview, right? So that ideally you should have highlighted in the introduction also.
Yes.
If you wanted, so ideally you should focus more on work ex.
Yeah, absolutely. Because ticket size, the difficulty, it's also slightly unstructured and stuff like that. So then the question is about the challenges. Mostly it was okay. But if you could give a little more insight. But I think the bigger problem was the real estate problem in Mumbai. So the only thing you mentioned is price. I'm sure there are other challenges besides price, because price is very obvious. Everybody knows that Greater Mumbai prices are very high. But apart from that, what?
I forgot that points, that traffic congestions and all other major points.
So you could, get into the operational side of it, the legality side of it, how a lot of young generation doesn't want to buy also, right? They want to rent properties because they know why even buy here, maybe buy somewhere else. And there's so many factors. You give a very, very superficial factor that everybody knows, right? Preference in real estate. So if you want to work in real estate, because you said yourself that preference will be real estate, then know a little bit about what kind of company, what kind of project, maybe a little bit more. So then if you say that my preference in real estate, then why? So going ahead, then how will you work with different from what you have done currently, right? So what kind of escalation in your career do you foresee in the real estate sector, right? So what can you do? Overall, you can definitely add on to it, and people will buy because you have 2 years of work ex in the real estate sector. The injury thing, I also written, injury, pain are not the same thing. Investment banking to 100%, of course, we should not talk about. Powerlifting, weightlifting, okay. Then it came one question I had a problem is also the weakness thing, right? And you said that one of your weakness or area of improvement is pessimism, that you're, no. But you said right now I'm thinking positively and taking accountability. It took a lot of us, a lot of time for us to get to the point to give example, where are you, implementing that positive thinking, right? Because to an extent, I could have pointed out that you did not apply to some colleges thinking that you're not going to get in, right? So it is an evidence of pessimism. So you are not really thinking positively. So you will have to always, whenever there's a question about weakness, give them a tangible action plan that you are implementing in your life so as to overcome it. Right? Don't say I'm planning to do and I will do as a coach, right?
Yes.
The sports thing, again, I think what he has already highlighted, so I don't want to get too much into it, is culture, food, okay, but then, popularity is not the only thing. Because popularity of cricket, I understand, yes, but hockey was popular even before, but hockey's popularity has gone down, right? Because cricket has consumed so much, right? So why is it there, right? It's not that football is not popular. Football, there have been clubs of football since forever, right? So why is it that India is not, and India has been trying to get into, qualify for the World Cup football as also for, it is not qualified for the main stage. So why? Because see, not everybody will be asked this question because you're so heavily into that side of athletics and sports and lifting, you will need to give better answers, right? So think about a little bit about the world in general. Also, a lot of panels do end by the question by saying, do you have any questions for us? Don't say no questions, right? Abhi ke liye, if you have not prepared, it's okay, but whichever college you're going to, prepare at least a couple of questions that you might want to ask. So read on the website, read on the project, read something that you can ask genuinely, that don't go into placements and all that stuff obviously, but genuinely what something that you might want an insight from them as per your fit with the college or what you should do before the program or things like that.
An example, sir, that would be.
So if you say that suppose there is a college that offers those the student exchange programs, right, with international universities, you can say that I have seen that with your college has this this college, right, and you believe if I have to qualify for that, what all things that I should learn right now? Should I start learning a new language? So can you give me any advice? Anything, right? So
Asking for advice is the safest.
Yes.
Just ask for some advice, any life advice or whatever. Just two things I wanted to add, which is related to your communication. So you ended up saying ha at a couple of places. Ha, which is like agreement. Then for that sports question, I think somewhere you did, which is basically showing disappointment. That somewhere you're disappointed that everybody is watching cricket and nobody is watching people running a 5K or a 10K. For that question, what Souvik was trying to get at is, why don't we do well in sports that are physically demanding? And you said culture. What about genetics? What about sports investment, sports infrastructure, right? So as an MBA, as an aspiring MBA, you are expected to think in different dimensions and present that to the panel. One last thing, which is again communication based, related to communication, is when you mentioned client, you said for him. So as if the client is male, you have to say for him or her. So you said sometimes clients don't show up, right? Then you said he told, he doesn't show up. So you have to be gender neutral, because some panel members notice it, especially if it is a female panelist, right? She would definitely notice that you're referring to a client as him, her, him, not her, or gender neutral. So just be careful of those things as well.
Okay, sir.
Okay?
I will work on it.
Yeah. All the best.
Thank you so much.